Good morning. This is Talk Back to Television, and I'm here with Daniel Thompson, co-founder and CEO of Spincast.
Hey,
Daniel,
how are
how
you
are you?
today?
I am fine. And by the way, I want everybody to recognize Spincast has joined the sponsorship family for Talk Back to Television. So, Daniel, welcome.
Welcome, thank you.
All right. Now, let's first find out what in the world is Spincast.
Spincast is, you know, our goal is basically to make shoppable television that is purchasing whatever you see on the screen as seamless as changing the channel or changing the volume. And Netflix has a button on the remote when we want to have a shopping button right next to it.
Okay. Now, when we were talking before, I have done a lot of shows over my many, many years in doing the show and in the business
Yes.
about shopping television. And the one thing that always comes up is the brutal math of any interactive TV, whether it's shopping or trying to find something in a program guide. And that is, you've got a show, you've got an audience, that show's going to run. You have a fraction of the audience who's going to be watching it at any given point in time. A fraction of those people is going to click on something to do something. And a fraction of those people will actually buy the thing that they've clicked on. And you've got a fraction of a fraction of a fraction. And at 8 o'clock tonight, you've got exactly one person who bought the pair of shoes you were trying to sell. And the solution to that is scale. The solution to that is to get the stuff that you are doing out to the widest possible audience all the time. Wasn't there a movie, Everything Everywhere All the Time?
Yes,
That was
exactly.
another movie I didn't understand. I saw Minecraft this weekend. I didn't understand that either. Okay, so now how do you get me a brand to scale so I can actually generate some sales?
Okay, so one of the things that we noticed really early on with shopping with television not succeeding in the past is at least the way everybody's kind of envisioned it is that it's always been kind of an add-on to the experience. It's always been kind of an add-on or a trial for the various things that you're talking about, where you would just try it out on a major like anchor show in prime time or something. But for it to really work, it's got to be shoppable TV has to be like the subway system. It's got to be there 24/7. Subway. If the New York subway only worked during rush hour, it'd be useless to most people. It's got to be a public utility. And so how we approach that with Spincast is we basically baked it into a streaming television platform brand. And so that everything on our platform is shoppable. So if you're a content partner and you put your content onto Spincast, it becomes shoppable to whatever brand relationships that we have. So to make an example, if you were say, VW, right, and you did a brand relationship with us, then every show or piece of content is on Spincast that has a Volkswagen in it. If we're, be it a microbus on a beach during a beach movie, or to Herbie, that'd be
Herbie the
good.
Love Bug. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
yeah, exactly. You would be able to click the button on your remote and without interrupting the viewing experience. That's another thing we do differently is we don't do in your face. We basically it's an asynchronous process. You can if you see something that you want to buy and you click the button on the remote, you can either go look at it on your second screen device that's synced immediately, or you can just wait until after the show and then mouse around with your remote and go look at it and act on it that way. So, but I hopefully that kind of answers that question.
Okay, so now that is the case, and we've said that Spincast is a platform that is live and people can go look at it, but Spincast may not be your end game. Your end game might be, let's take that VW example and have that VW movie program, whatever it is, wherever it plays. And that might be, for example, on a TV manufacturer. And I told you in the warm up that I'm a big fan of the glass because the glass is the last thing
Exactly.
that sees the content before my eyes see it. but a TV manufacturer who would have the ability to go to VW, they would go to VW and say, every time the VW logo appears on our platform, every place, every time it appears, we're going to send somebody an opportunity to go watch that terrific new ad for that electric VW vehicle. Now
Absolutely.
that is scale, that is interactivity, and it's your software that enables that.
Right.
Explain a little bit about how that software actually works.
Okay. So our end goal is to really, make this an industry standard that would be adopted by everybody.
Yep.
We're not looking to really, and bring it to the market that way. So Spincast right now is kind of like a laboratory. It's a
Yep.
streaming platform we're marketing as such, but it's a laboratory to work out all these finding the optimal user experience, the optimum way of working it, so that we can get the major manufacturers and distributors and everything on board with the concept of or our vision of the concept and adopt it as kind of like I say as an industry standard. So that's what we're doing, and that's our end goal. So it's kind of a like I say, Spincast is kind of a laboratory to getting to that end.
Okay. Now we talked about go back to the VW case that you mentioned.
Right,
It could be as easy as teaching your software to identify a VW logo, which is pretty basic, and it hasn't
right.
changed in Skady 8 years. As simple as
Unlike
identifying a
some other
VW
car
logo,
brands.
right?
Yeah,
Or if Nike wanted to do something to simply identify and find a Nike logo on a pair of shoes anywhere, that your software could say, "Oh, it's one there. We're going to send them. Or we're going to give
absolutely.
them an opportunity to
Our,
go."
our our AI is really good at doing logos. It's a little bit doing logos is a lot easier than doing Jennifer Aniston's
Well,
dress.
see, that's the thing. Starting with a logo is something that everybody can understand. Said, okay, I get that.
Yeah.
And it's relatively easy to train the AI to go look for the logo, and your platform can surface that up and deliver that into an interactive experience. And all the brand has to do, the brand actually doesn't have to do anything. VW doesn't have to do diddly squat.
Exactly, and it works for content that's evergreen. So if you have content that's like decades old that has a Volkswagen in it, it recognizes it and can still, you could still as a brand leverage that relationship even with content you've done many years ago. And the nice thing for us is that we don't really require a whole lot of upfront processing like on the Spincast platform, you don't really have to do any upfront
Yep.
processing. You just give us the content and it's taken care of. There's no, as compared to our competitors or people who've tried to do this, there's no upfront identifying of the products and going through this whole tagging process or an authoring process that's very time consuming and requires a lot of investment. And the other part of this is we kind of believe a little bit in the kind of the wisdom of the crowds, so to speak, which is we don't try to guess where the audience is going to be interested and try to limit the choices down. The audience lets us know what they're interested. Now, if they see a car on TV and it's a BMW, yeah, well, or Volkswagen, I should say, we can send them over there to Volkswagen. Um, but that's kind of the general idea.
Okay. I really like this because it allows an advertiser, a brand, to go from number one, brand advertising. You can actually activate a brand ad with a tactical execution to send
Yes,
me somewhere to do that. And all the software has to look for is the logo on the brand. And all
correct.
of a sudden, I am going. And if it's a brand that has an emotional connection where I know that when I see that Budweiser ad, I'm saying, oh man, do I love Clydesdales. And all of a sudden, there's a Budweiser logo, and away I go to take a look at the new flavor of Bud, which
And
makes
and and
sense.
and the nice thing for our viewers too is we don't interrupt your viewing experience while you're doing it. We design the experience around a communal screen
Yep.
Not so much your handheld device, but you're watching it in your living room. And when that Budweiser comes on, you're not uh, interrupting the show with your wife going, "Why are you looking at the Budweiser
That's
girl?"
right.
But you can immediately, if you want to, if you want to immediately respond to, you can just grab your second screen device and sync and go there, or you could wait till it's done and like I said, mouse around into part of the screen and act upon that call to action that the brand has for you.
Instead of watching the credits, I could go take a look at where I can buy Bud.
Yeah, exactly.
Something like
I
that.
think that's a winner right there.
It is, isn't it? Okay. Either that or buy a Clydesdale. Well, I understand, by the way, aside from the fact
A
that
lot of
they're
hay.
they're the size of a school bus, they're very smart and they're very gentle, and I like all of them.
I think they eat a lot.
Well,
I think there's a lot of hay there. I think there's a
they
lot of hay there.
they do eat a lot. All right, you know what, Daniel Thompson? I think we're all gonna be paying attention to Spincast, and we're going to talk to you again. But right now, tell us right now what you're looking at for the future of Spincast.
Right now, what we're looking for future of Spidcast is to solidify some more content relationships and some more brand relationships uh, to basically socialize our vision for shoppable television with the world. And
There you go.
and like I said, we're also talking to the glass manufacturers and eventually getting them on board. I mean, we really want to make this work for not just streaming, but for next gen broadcast and cable. I mean, we our IP is such that it could be plugged into each one of those modalities and work. And so
You know what? We're recording this during NAB, and I got a lot of friends at Sinclair and, their ATSC3 Next Gen TV. This is actually perfect for that because the image is delivered one way over the broadcast signal,
mhm.
and the interaction goes back. Well, that's pretty smart stuff, buddy. I like
Yeah,
it.
no, well, we were planning for ATSC 3. Actually, we were actually trying to make this work with ATS 1. It's the fact is people aren't even using all the features of ATS 1 and they're jumping to the
Right.
ATS 3, but which is a whole nother discussion. But
Yes, it is.
so hopefully though, once they roll it out, they actually take advantage of the capability. But yes, we want to be a part of that. And like I said, our end goal is to kind of be an industry standard. And instead of me trying to run a streaming network, I would just be a consultant to people who want to implement our
And
technology.
and licensing the software. All right.
Exactly.
I like that a whole lot. All right. Daniel Thompson from Spincast, thank you for your time, buddy.
Thank
And
you.
we'll catch everybody next week on Talk Back to Television. Bye
Yep.
bye.